With the political conventions over, the candidates will now be campaigning in earnest. Voters go to the polls in just 100 days. Here for a look at what's next in the campaign is Phillip Bump, political columnist at the Washington Post. Phillip, good morning.
Morning, sir.
Now that each candidate's accepted the nominations, they actually sit down with federal agents for classified briefings, right? Possibly as early as next week. What happens in those?
That's right. Yeah, it's a great thing. People don't really understand how the process works, and I think it's important to explain. I spoke with the gentleman who worked on Mitt Romney's campaign. Essentially, there are a series of briefings, one or two, maybe three, where they go to a secure facility and a group of people who work for the government, intelligence briefers, just sort of outline a few big picture things, nothing in great detail. We're not talking like troop movements and things like that, but just trying to situate them in the world. People assume it's like sort of a presidential daily briefing with lots of details. It's not that, and I think that that's important for people to realize.
But it is at the discretion of the president, correct?
That is correct. The president can say, no, these things are not going to happen, but it's a tradition going back to Eisenhower in 1952. And it's, I think it is, as I spoke to this gentleman, he worked for the Romney campaign, which was fighting the Obama campaign. I mean, they were in this tough contested battle, but he thought it was a good sign that this is how the transition of power works.
So let's talk about last week.
Sure.
What was your assessment of Hillary Clinton's speech? Was it enough to woo Republicans? Were the sort of veiled attacks on Donald Trump efficient?
Yeah, I mean, I think that what she was trying to do was she was trying to provide people who were worried about Donald Trump with an alternative. And so, yes, she very pointedly called out Donald Trump, but of course the Democrats have been doing that over the course of 4 days. I mean, that was basically the theme of the convention was we are the stable, patriotic party in contrast to Donald Trump. And I think you saw that with President Obama's speech as well. But, again, the one thing that we've learned over the course of this election is it's hard to predict what's going to happen, how people are going to react to what Donald Trump are doing and, the opponents of Donald Trump are doing. So we'll see. Polls should be coming out next week.
You've written that the best moment at either convention was the speech by Khizr Khan, the Muslim father of an Army captain, U.S. Army captain killed in Iraq. Why did you think that?
It was an incredibly powerful moment. It was a very emotional moment. The Democratic Convention had a lot of emotional moments, but I think this one in particular stood out. But it was a very, very effective repudiation of Donald Trump's arguments that Muslims shouldn't be allowed to immigrate because this is a family they had a son who gave his life to the country. And, he also called out Donald Trump's apparent not understanding of the fact that this was running contrary to what the Constitution says about religion and about freedom. He pulled out his exactly and said, you should read this. It was just when you're doing a political convention, that's the sort of moment you want to have. It was far more important than what Hillary Clinton had to say, and I think it's going to resonate over the long term.
It was a nice moment to see so many people in the audience crying also when he held up that pocketbook.
Yeah.
There were some Republicans even who tweeted how moved they were by it.
Right.
All right, Phillip Bump, thank you so much.
Thank you both.
Tomorrow morning on Face the Nation here on CBS, John Dickerson's guests will include Senator Bernie Sanders, Paul Manafort, Donald Trump's campaign manager, and Reince Priebus, chairman of the Republican National Committee.